Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first race of the 2021 season for the EuroNASCAR Esports Series in partnership with i-cin.com and SimRacingLeague.it. It's wonderful to be back here at a virtual Daytona. This was the site of our very first prologue race in the inaugural 2020 season, but it kicks off the main championship round for 2021. The self-proclaimed world centre of racing, Daytona has been a fixture at the heart of stock racing calendar since NASCAR really began, and we are racing not on the oval, as we will see the main 500 on over this weekend. This gives you just a little appetizer prior to the clash this evening, if you're going to tune in for the Busch Clash over there in Daytona. We are racing on the 3.5 mile or 5.7 kilometre road course, so it will take in the likes of the difficult turn one and then work its way through the infield, through the East Horseshoe, up towards that very fast left-hand kink if you're watching the Rolex Daytona 24 hours a few weekends ago, through the West Horseshoe, and then up towards turn 5 and turn 6, where it will rejoin the oval circuit at what is in reality Speedway turn 1, and then from there it will go through Speedway 1, Speedway 2 on the oval, down the back straight and in towards that daunting bus stop at turns number 10 and 11, and back up onto the oval for Speedway 3 and Speedway 4. Mark Werrell that's chatting to you now. I won't be the only person you'll be hearing from in the commentary box, though. We're going to grab in the winners of our various heats. We'll tell you a little bit about the format in a moment. We've also got Andre Weigold, who is my usual co-commentator for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and is a member of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series media team. He's out competing, and he's happy to us when there's a quiet moment of the race to have a chat to us and tell a little bit about what the car's doing out there and how these cars react around this road course here at Daytona. As for the format, well, based on the number of entries we have got this evening, we are going to have a practice session, which is on now. There will then be a qualifying session, which will be held over 10 minutes or just 2 laps. The drivers only get 2 laps to do, and that will set their time in reality for the grid of their heat that they will drop into. With 34 drivers currently in the session this evening, we will see 2 heats of 17 cars. In the heats, the grid will be formed based on the fastest person in qualifying will go to pole for heat 1. The second fastest person in qualifying will go to heat number 2, and so on. We'll work our way down through the grids. Then for the heats, if you win your heats, that will get you on the front row for the final 30-minute race. If you are the winner of the second heat, but it's a slightly slower race, you'll go to the outside of the front row. We'll work our way through. It is only the final, though, the final 30-minute race, that will carry the championship points. Those all important championship points as well. So qualifying underway, cars just rolling out. There is Andre Weigold, who is one of my co-commentators with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. As he's heading on to an outlap, we might maybe just see if we can grab a quick word with him. Maybe when he's on his outlap, we'll see whether he's there. There is the reigning NASCAR Pro Champion just heading out to qualifying, Alan Day, the most successful driver we've had in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. More wins than anybody now, and 3 championship titles under his belt as well. He will be hoping for good things in this one, Alan Day. He did well in the E-Series last year. Just looking at my notes, he was 3rd in the Esports Series last year, Alan Day, and is highly likely to be a front runner in this one. He could have almost won this equivalent race last year, the prologue event at Daytona, had it not have been for the driver that ultimately went through to grab the opening title for the EuroNASCAR Esports Series, that being Andre Castro. Andre went on to win the championship. Sadly can't be with us this evening. I know he's watching. Hi, Andre. We know that you can't make this one. You're as devastated as we all are that you're not back to defend your title. A clash with his studies and college and university commitments sadly means he's not able to compete this evening, but he will be back for future rounds. It'd be great to see our defending esports champion up against, virtually at least, the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro Champion. There's Max Lancer heading out to qualifying as well. Nice to see Max back with us and racing, a driver that we didn't see compete in a full season last year, Max Lancer. It was such a shame that his season was cut short. He had an off whilst at Grobnek Circuit, and in what looked like a fairly simple off where the car went backwards into the barriers. Poor old Max actually broke his wrist. I had to have some surgery back in his native Italy, and that curtailed the remainder of his main EuroNASCAR season. So he only finished 20th in the EuroNASCAR standings in the EuroNASCAR 2 last year, but he's been a regular in the championship for the last 3 or 4 years now, has Max Lancer. We'll see how he gets on with this one. Most of the cars only out there and just starting to build the times up, really. All of them on their out laps. We haven't really seen any times coming in as yet. But if it's anything like last year, the quickest drive we had in qualifying for the prologue event, as it was at the time at Daytona on the road course, was Alan Day. He was the driver that out of the, 60, I think, that had entered for this equivalent race meeting last year, then he was the quickest of all. He went on to win his heat. As I say, he ultimately did not claim the main championship point scoring race because it was that little bit of a bump and run from Andre Castro that eluded him of that. Igor Romanov was a busy guy last year. Nice to see Igor back with us. The number 190 car driving for Not Only Motorsport, the Ukrainian. He was third in the Legend Trophy. Bit of an off, though, for him, heading out of turn number 2, the little kink. Also a very sideways moment for Alessandro Brigatti, who loses the tail end of the car, heading in towards turn number 1, I'm afraid to say, and just bumps the nose of the car in towards the barriers. So the Victor Motorsport Chevy has had to curtail his first flying lap. Remember, you only get 2 as well. You have Jenny Sokolovsky sideways heading out of what is the infield section, and another driver that just lost the tail end of the car there heading out of turn number 6. It's a really difficult part of the circuit, turn number 6. It's quite a tight entry into it, but it's very bumpy on the way in as well. So it unsettles the car to an enormous degree. The Not Only Motorsport car of Davide Dallara. He was going well in the free practice session, Davide Dallara. He is the reigning Challenger champion from last year. We also saw a good chunk of him in the Esports Series last year. He finished 8th in the standings in the 2020 version of this EuroNASCAR Esports Series. So we'll be hoping to go at least a couple better than that, if not lift the overall championship crown. But at the moment, all looks nice and neat and tidy from the number 89 Chevy, building the speeds as he heads round through turns number 3 and turn number 4. Got number 265, new driver. Should see a chunk of him in the Club Challenge Series in 2021. That is the car that's just working its way through the bus stop chicane now, which is Paul Joffru. And he has completed the lap and is 4th quickest. So good lap time having been put in. The fastest we've had so far is from Guillaume de Flandre, who was the quickest in the free practice session. Simon Palat, as you can see, is in the pit lane, having conducted his flying laps, is 2nd quickest. Ulysse Delso, a former EuroNASCAR 2 champion, sits there 3rd. Jeffreux is 4th. Fred Gabillon is 5th at this stage. Alan Day goes 2nd quickest, though. The reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion finishes the lap, the number 24 Monster Energy-backed Chevy. So 2nd quickest for Alan Day. It's not going to be the pole position that he secured at this equivalent meeting last year. Stefano Gustavaglia back for another go at it as well. We saw lots of him last year in the Esports Series. He finished 20th in the standings in the end, Gustavaglia. Running car number 300. I'll tell you a little about the way the numbers work as well as the session wears on. But Gustavaglia was certainly one of the quick drivers last year. Team member. He usually works on the number 54 Cal Racing machine. But in the virtual world, he's able to get behind the cockpit of it and see what he might be able to do, Stefano Gustavaglia. Quicker through Sector 1 and Sector 2 and Sector 3 than he's previously been. So at the moment, he's looking to see whether he can mount a challenge towards the sharp end. And as he heads in towards the very difficult bus stop, just outbrakes himself and bounces over the curbs, and that's going to undo all of the hard work he'd done at the beginning of the lap. So no improvement there for him. So it's still the Flandre from Alan Day. Tobias Dauenhauer has moved up to 3rd quickest now. The driver who was runner-up in the Esports Championship last year was an unbelievably quick rookie as well. He claimed the rookie honours in EuroNASCAR 2, finished runner-up in the overall series. He goes 3rd quickest. Simon Palat's 4th. Ulysse Delso 5th. Justin Coutts is now up to 6th position. Touring around the lap is Giorgio Maggi. And he's going to be leaving it quite late into the session. So we've had, 6 minutes and 45 seconds of this session elapsed now of the 10, and only now is Giorgio Maggi heading on to his flying lap. So 2 laps they are able to complete, and Giorgio Maggi at the wheel of the number 18 Ford at this stage, pushing on, had, by his standards, probably a disappointing year in EuroNASCAR Pro. Stepped up to EuroNASCAR Pro last year, finished in 11th position in the standings. He was 10th in the Esports Series. But remember, he had stepped up from EuroNASCAR Pro, having been the runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2 the year before. So he was probably a little bit disappointed. It was a season that, it wasn't all bad. It just didn't really hook up for him, unfortunately. Livy Lintacantu, that's the number 91 car. Nice to see Livy Lintacantu out. We did see a little bit of him last year. He appeared for the finals meeting, the super speed week as we had at Valencia as it was in the end. So the final 2 normal championship rounds plus the double points finals. So 4 races over a busy weekend in the early part of December for Livy Lintacantu. Justin Coots finishes his 2nd flying lap and is 6th quickest. So was quicker on that lap than his 1st flying lap. So improvement there. We're now looking at Alain Mousqueron, who is a back-to-back EuroNASCAR Club Challenge champion now as well. Claimed the title in 2020, year after he'd claimed it for the first time in 2019. So we go on board now with Alain Mousqueron. Thundering noise of the V8 engine. All of these cars, the NASCAR Cup cars, all of them identical in terms of setup as well, whether it be the Ford Mustang, the Chevrolet Camaro, or the couple of Toyotas we've got out there. But Alain Mousqueron pushing as hard as he possibly can through the bus stop. And for the 29-year-old Frenchman, say back-to-back champions, having come out of things like Sodi karts in the past. Let's see how he might be able to get on in this one. First lap saw him go 14th quickest. Alain Mousqueron this time through, slower through the middle few sectors, suggesting that he is not going to improve his time. So I don't think we are going to see Alain Mousqueron gain any more time this time through as he comes over the start-finish line to complete the lap, having gone through the 2nd of the 2 chicanes. And no, for Alain Mousqueron, that lap was a couple of seconds slower than his previous best. Stefan Crescine is leaving it very late indeed. We've only now got 45 seconds of this remaining, so he's not going to get to complete this lap, I don't think, is he? Yes, he will. He'll just get through to complete the lap, Stefan Crescine. Quicker through Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3 and Sector 4 than he's been. He's going to hook the lap up. His best is a 1 minute 52. No, in fact, Stefan Crescine goes 18th quickest on that one. Yeah, so 18th quickest for Stefan Crescine. So that is not a bad performance from him. Very experienced esports racer is Stefan Crescine, racing the American FanFest car that's supporting Hockenheim, one of our long-term partners and partner circuits within the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We might even visit them in the Esports Series, because I know iRacing are scheduled to release the Hockenheim track very soon indeed. It's whether it's out in time for our scheduled visit there, whether we go to the Charlotte Roval or go to Hockenheim. So qualifying done and dusted. It's going to see Guillaume de Flandre at the top of the times after qualifying, and therefore he will line up on pole position for the first heat. Qualifying results, and Guillaume de Flandre fastest by 0.3 of a second from Alan Day, who was 2nd quickest. Tobias Downhauer 3rd. Simon Palat in 4th, ahead of Ulysse Delso and Justin Coots, with Paul Dufresne, Fred Gabillon, Davide De Lara and Henry Tuamala returning to the championship, completing the top 10. Vladimir's choices, Chris Lehman with a great result, 12th quickest for Chris. Good result from him. Roy Hendricks is 13th, Alain Mousqueron 14th, Santu Fuxatorium 15th, ahead of Patrick Hendricks, Giorgio Maggi, Jakob Krafik, Stefan Crescine and Luca Canaroy. Michael Sturman is 21st, head of Nave Talon, returning to the championship. Livy Lintacantu, Gordon Bard, Sebastian Bleeky-Molen, we didn't see anything of. Max Heilig, Jan Ranson, Andre Weigold, who we'll chat to mid-race, 28th quickest, Igor Romanov, Alessandro Bugatti, only 30th from him, a lot of work to do from him there, I would have thought. Stefano Gustavaye, Francisco Garisto, only 32nd as well, so work to do there. Max Lance and Yevgen Sokolovsky, the 34 cars. So the cars that are odd numbers will all line up in this first heat. The cars that are even numbers will all line up in the second heat. And for the heats, it is a 10-minute heat that we will see. So 10 minutes for these first 17 cars. They will all go through. Such are the numbers entered for this race here on the Daytona International Speedway NASCAR course. They will all go through to the finals race, which will be held over 30 minutes. And then we'll repeat that for the second batch of 17 cars. So in reality, the results from this race give you what row of the grid you will be on for race at number 2. So Giorgio Maggi a little bit slow away on the rolling lap. Is there a problem for Giorgio? Yeah, it looks as though he's dropped out. So problems for Giorgio Maggi. Maybe lost connection there. But his car is showing as being back in the pits, I'm afraid to say, which means doesn't preclude him from starting, but he's going to have to start from the pit lane if whatever the problem is, he can get it sorted out. So the rest of the field that were held up by Giorgio, they couldn't overtake him, now just trying to catch up on the rolling lap. So sort of got two batches of cars almost, haven't we? Those that are playing catch up and those that got away ahead of Giorgio Maggi. So 10-minute heats, everybody going through, but who's going to win this first heat? Tobias Dauenhauer looking to try and outgun Guillaume de Flandre. They both won heat races last year. Guillaume de Flandre won one of the main races, which was the first championship race at Brands Hatch. Tobias Dauenhauer won the final championship race at Brands Hatch. That's the main point scoring races as well. So they've all won heats, both of them on the front row of the grid, and they both won finals races in the 2020 EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Red lights on, pace builds up, red lights go out, and we're away and racing for the first time in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series for 2021. It's Guillaume de Flandre that leads. Tobias Dauenhauer was just a little bit cautious through turn number one there and almost got the tail end of his car tagged as we ride on board with Levi Lintecantu thick in the middle of the action, in the middle of the pack, running in what is 10th position at the moment, up to 9th place as he grabs a position up the inside. Contact further back, I'm afraid, to stay, and that's Stefan Krasine that gets tagged and spun around. And I think Igor Romanov might have got tangled up there as well, I'm afraid to say. But Guillaume de Flandre away. Tobias Dauenhauer in second place. Ulysse Delceau in third. And that's Davide De Lara who's there in fourth position at this stage. Davide De Lara, though, has got his hands rather full. Quick look at the replay as to what happened. Well, I think Stefan Krasine, he's the blue car, the Chevrolet, car number 479. He had one car go right, one car go left, and there was locked brakes, I'm afraid to say, from Michael Stolman, who I think just tagged the tail end of him, and that was what pitched Stefan Krasine into the spin. So lots of recovery work to do for Stefan Krasine. The front three cars breaking away. We are looking at the moment at the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th places as Paul Jethro is under pressure from Roy Hendricks, who sits behind, who has a bit of a moment heading in towards the bus stop chicane, gathers it up, but Vladimir Choitsis is able to work his way through there. Choitsis was a really strong rookie season performance for the Cypriot driver Vladimir Choitsis. But for Roy Hendricks, not only did he lose one place, the Choitsis through the bus stop chicane, the 34-year-old Dutchman who runs Hendricks Motorsport also lost out to Levi Lintecantu, who was also able to squeeze his way through the Finnish driver who lies ahead. Lap number one completed. Tobias Dauenhauer running out towards the conclusion of the lap in second position. Ulysse Delceau sitting not that far behind. Ulysse Delceau was the EuroNASCAR 2 champion back in 2018. Stepped up to EuroNASCAR Pro the following year. Didn't see anything of him competing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series last year, as with several drivers, COVID-19 and the pandemic putting paid to what otherwise were their plans for the year. But for Ulysse Delceau, he's spent a lot of time iRacing, a lot of virtual racing he's been doing, and it's certainly showing at this stage. Chevy leads, Ford second. Chevy's in third, fourth and fifth place. Paul Jeffro's car is there in sixth place. That's another Ford. We don't have any Toyotas. There's only a couple, I think, in the entry list. No Toyotas in this heat. They will all appear in heat number two. But at the moment, Guillaume de Flandre is just starting to break away. He's opened up a 2-second gap now between himself and Tobias Dauenhauer, who sits behind. And Tobias Dauenhauer has now got 1.2 seconds between himself and Ulysse Delceau. But Delceau will pick up a bit of the tow as they head around through Speedway 2, down the back straight, running parallel with Lake Lloyd and in towards the braking area for the bus stop chicane. So important to get cleanly out of the bus stop. Far better to compromise yourself a little bit on the way in than on the way out. Speeds begin to build again, because if you compromise yourself on the way out, you lose that speed all the way through Speedway 3, through Speedway 4, until this point of the circuit where you get into the braking area at the final chicane that brings you over the start-finish line. Roy Hendricks trying to fight back again. This is 8th place. Levi Lintecantu under attack from Roy Hendricks. Can't do anything as they head in towards the bus stop chicane, but there's a spin ahead, and that's Santu Vauxhaturia that's had the spin. So Vauxhaturia Munfin loses a place to fellow countryman there as Livy Lintercanto goes through and brings Roy Hendricks with him. Hendricks looking for the inside line as they head up towards turn number 1. Close stuff, but Livy Lintercanto just gets the door closed at this stage. Now, Livy Lintercanto has had a good first few laps, you know. He's gained 5 positions relative to his starting position. The only other driver that's gained more at the moment is a driver who came off the back of the field. That being the number 88 car, the Chevy, in the hands of the Italian, Max Lanza. He's gained 8 places so far from his starting position. Now, come the main championship race that carries the points, there are additional 4 points for the driver that gains the most places, starting position to finishing position, but we don't have any points to worry about for the heats at all. Good fight further down through the order. Stefan Christine fighting away with the car that lies directly ahead of him. That's car number 346, which is Rien Janssen. Rien Janssen is also looking to try and put pay to the efforts of Santi Vauxatoria, who's just had his spinners in the process of recovering. Nice livery on the 346 car. Double number on it because of the way that iRacing works, painting a number over or underneath what is the number on the livery that's been built for that car. That will get addressed, I'm sure, for future rounds. But at the moment, all we're seeing is the fighting going on further down. We're not seeing the fact that Guillaume de Flandre is just romping away in the lead, and why would we? Because he's now 3 seconds up the road from Tobias Downhauer and is just continually starting to open up that gap all of the time. We go back on board with Roy Hendricks. Great shot from the nose camera on this car, round through Speedway 4 in towards the braking area for the NASCAR chicane. Trying not to use too much curb. It really unsets the car and settles the car if you grab too much curb coming out of the left and the right, and the left flicks again. And then from there, the short little blast that brings you up towards the conclusion of the lap. Further down through the order, this is Rien Janssen, who has now, by the look of things, lost out there. Stefan Christine trying to make further progress after his problems on lap number 1. He's starting to work his way further up through the order now. So that puts the 479 car, the American FanFest car, up now into what will be 11th position. Runs a little bit wide, though, heading out of turn number 1. Through the short little kink almost, isn't it, at turn 2. Stefan Christine just able to finally build a little bit of gap between himself and Yin Ranson, who sits behind. Then Santu Vauxatoria and Giorgio Maggi behind that, all going wheel to wheel by the look of things. Yeah, that is Giorgio Maggi and Santu Vauxatoria for 13th and 14th side by side. Who's come out on top? Giorgio Maggi goes through, gains the place. Can he hang on to it? You can see the damage to the front end of Santu Vauxatoria's car as they head up towards the West Horseshoe. But it does look as though the Swiss driver will just hang on to the place from the number 46 that lies behind. Running wide there, that was Yin Ranson. That is going to allow Giorgio Maggi to pick him off as they head up towards Speedway 2. So Giorgio Maggi now up into 12th position, I would have thought, as a result of that. Santi Vauxatorian going backwards with the damage to his car, just affecting it at the fast points of the circuit. And drive-through penalty, I'm afraid to say. So that was on lap number 1. We saw what happened where Stefan Christine was tagged into a spin by Michael Stolman as he tried to lock up. To be fair, Stolman did lock up the brakes in efforts to try and avoid the contact, but there was contact between the pair, and that was what caused the spin for Stefan Christine, and it is a drive-through penalty, I'm afraid to say, for the car number 369. Up front, though, Guillaume de Flandre looking very, very comfortable indeed. 10-minute race. We are pretty much almost there now in terms of time. So Guillaume de Flandre is looking good here to gain the win and is nearly 6 seconds up the road. There's also no further action required as a result of other contact between Stefano Gustavai and Santi Vauxatorian. So that's the 354 and the 46 getting together. No further action required there. Race Control have had a look into it and are happy that it was a racing accident and nothing more than that. But it hasn't done Santi Vauxatorian any great deal of good at all, because he's way down through the order as a result of that contact. Here is, right, here's Santi Vauxatorian. No damage to the front of his car, look. So this is pre-contact. All right, off and into the wall. So that was the what caused the damage to his car. Was it during the recovery? No, that's the damage, right? That's how the damage occurred to Santa Volkswagen's car. So that will certainly, through the fast parts of the circuit, be significantly affecting the top speed of this car. So Guillaume de Flandre safely on his way to what looks like a victory here. So he's just about to complete the 5th lap of the race and works his way out of the bus stop chicane. The time is almost at 10 minutes. And I think he's just going to squeeze another lap out, isn't he? Yeah, over the start-finish line with 9 minutes and 35 seconds gone. So he will just squeeze one further lap out of this one. But Guillaume de Flandre has had the pace. He was quickest in the free practice session. Did superbly well in qualifying to pop it on pole. So he did claim heat wins last year, Guillaume de Flandre. He claimed an overall race win at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit. That was his only overall championship race win of the year. Claimed a heat win at Watkins Glen and a heat win in the last chance race at Zandvoort, where he had less luck. But so far, he's been very, very consistent in this one. Tobias Douwenhauer is the man that's been trying to chase him down for the 23-year-old from Belgium. It looks as though he's going to come out on top in this one. Haven't seen a lot of Guillaume de Flandre racing in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the last year or so. But he is certainly not showing that there's any rust at all in terms of his racing ability. And the fairly quiet 23-year-old keeps himself to himself largely at race meetings. And he is certainly looking as though he is more than the class of the field in this one, has had the pace. Another quick replay. This is Max Lancer. What happened to Max below the yellow line? So some sort of problem pulling the car onto the apron. Now, what was the problem with that? Blocked brakes. And not quite sure what happened to Max there. Something happened. If it was a slowdown penalty, you would have thought he would have just eased off the gas if he'd have cut the corner and been indicated from iRacing that he got a slowdown penalty. But he just seemed to pull onto the apron and stop the car, so not entirely sure what the problem was. But for Guillaume de Flandre, no such worries for him. Safely heading around the final lap. Checkered flag is going to come out, and Guillaume de Flandre is our first winner of the 2021 EuroNASCAR Esports season in partnership with i-cin.com and SimRacingLeague.it. Tobias Douwenhauer finishes in 2nd position. Remember, Tobias went so well in last year's Esports Series where he finished runner-up in it. And Ulysse Delso comes through and finishes in 3rd position in the first of the heats. He was 5th in the overall standings at the end of last year, Ulysse Delso. So he'll be really, really pleased with that. Davide De Lara should finish in 4th position. Yeah, he's taken the checkered flag now to finish in 4th place, with Paul Giuffreau finishing in 5th place, and Vladimir Joitsis completing the top 6 positions. 7th place was Levi Linter-Cantu. 8th position was Roy Hendricks. 9th place, Stefano Gustavai. 10th place, Stefan Cressin, as you can see to the left of your screens, ahead of Giorgio Maggi. And then Rien Janssen, I get it right now, Rien Janssen, who finished in 12th place. Martin Sturman was 13th, Santa Volkswagen 14th, Sebastian Bleekemolen at 15th position, and we should see Igor Romanov finish in 16th position. Max Lancer sadly calling into the pits with problems and unfortunately not able to take the checkered flag, so we'll have to wait and see as to what the problems were with Max Lancer. So we can already see that joining us in the commentary box, nice to see him back to winning ways and claiming a heat win in the first race of the esports season. Guillaume de Flandre is with us in the commentary box. Guillaume, that race all went to plan, didn't it?
Hello everybody. Yeah, great race. The race is not easy because the car is really slippery, but it's really nice to drive on Daytona. It's really fun. I like it, and yeah, it's really difficult.
Just tell us a little bit about how difficult it is and what the difficult parts of the circuit are. The transition at turn number 1 coming off the banking over the start-finish line is very difficult for braking, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's difficult everywhere, honestly, because the car, you have a lot of oversteering and understeering. You need to find your rhythm quickly to try to stay and hit without making any mistakes. And I had a lot of fun during the race, but yeah,
Nice. Nice to get the first win. You had a heat win at Watkins Glen, was it, last year? So nice to get a heat win in the first round.
Yep, it's very good.
Well done. All the very best for the final. Good luck.
Thanks.
There we go. So there's Guillaume de Flandre. Quick word with our Heat 1 winner, because Heat 2 is about to get underway. And this will see Alan Day line up on pole position with 166 Simon Palat alongside. Justin Coutts and Fred Gabillon are in there on the second row of the grid, with Henry Tuamala and Chris Lehman with a great qualifying position for him on the third row of the grid. Row 4 of the grid is Patrick Hendricks and Alan Muscaron. Jakob Krafik and Luca Canalori sitting down row number 5 ahead of Nave Talor and Gordon Bounds, Andre Weigel, Francesco Garisto. Then car number 322, which is Max Heilig, ahead of let's have a look. Max Heilig, Andre Weigel, Alessandro Brigatti, Francesco Garisto, and Yevgen Sokolovsky. So that gives you the 17 cars that are in on this one. Now remember, Alan Day last year was a heat winner in his respective heat. Simon Palat, though, is alongside him, who went really well last year in the Esports Series, and then went on to do particularly well also and have a good first debut season. He was 8th in EuroNASCAR 2, was Simon Palat last year, and 4th in the rookie standings, and has agreed to race for DF1 Racing in the 2021 main EuroNASCAR Championship season. Red lights on, and already Alan Day has gone. Already Simon Palat has dropped down behind him. That was almost before they got to the start-finish line there, into second position, but now needs to close the door to prevent Justin Coutts squeezing his way through. The German is not going to try and dive through up the inside of his fellow Chevy, so it's a Chevy 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment, because Henry Tuamala has slotted himself through into 4th place. The Toyota of Fred Gabillon is 5th, and the leading Ford, I think, not many Fords in this one, there's only one Ford in it. Patrick Hendricks, I think, is down in something like 12th position, maybe 11th place, as they charge their way up towards the East Horseshoe for the first time. But Alan Day already starting to put a little bit of daylight between himself and Justin Coutts, who has made it up and ahead of Simon Palat into second position. So the number 99 Chevy of the German through and ahead of Simon Palat, who drops down into third position. Henry Tuamala, the Finnish driver, returning to the NASCAR Esports Series. We didn't see him compete in the main NASCAR Euro Series last year. He concentrated on efforts at home, which brought him runners-up spot in the V8 Thunder Series up in Scandinavia last year. So good to see Henry Tuamala back in the Esports EuroNASCAR Series. Let's hope we see him out in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series as well for 2021. We'll have to wait and see. News has not been issued formally as with regards to what he's doing in the 2021 season. Big spin. That was Nave Talor. That I think the Israeli driver lost the tail end of the 191 heading in towards the braking area for the bus stop chicane. That's going to drop him down through the order. Let's have a quick look at what happened to Nave Talor. Dives on the brakes. Was there contact behind? Ooh, difficult to tell if there was. Jakob Krafik only just touched the rear end, but I'm surprised that Nave Talor's car broke away to the degree it did. It wasn't easy to see if there was contact or not from that angle. But either way, it has dropped Nave Talor down through the order. Big bounce off the curb there. That's Fred Gabillon who's had the issue. And the contact was made with Francesco Garisto. Now, that, as a result, loses a position to Garisto. Also going through is Jakob Krafik at the wheel of his Toyota. Jakob is a driver who is again representing one of our partner circuits. He's the sports sales manager for Autodrome Most, and at the moment at the wheel of his Toyota is applying the pressure really to Francesco Garisto. This is the fight for what is 7th and 8th and 9th positions, with Fred Gabillon there in 9th place, and Patrick Hendricks is blinking away in 10th position at the moment. I think his internet connection might not be quite what he would expect it to be, because the car's there 1 minute and then sort of disappears the next. There you see the blink again as the car disappears and then reappears. So that is rather disconcerting for the drivers that are around him, in particular the car that's right behind him, which will be Luca Caniore, which is the team manager for Cal Racing, who is trying to chase a car down. Right, Nave Talor drive-through penalty for causing an incident with Chris Lehman on lap number 1. Didn't quite see exactly what happened there with that one, but Nave Talor has been deemed to be the culprit, and that is why Chris Lehman has dropped all the way down to 15th position now at the wheel of his number 348 Chevy. Let's just have a quick look at another replay. This is Gordon Barnes. Gordon Barnes coming under attack from the car that sits behind. Yeah, a little dink in the rear, wasn't it, I'm afraid, as Yevgen Sokolovsky made contact with Gordon Barnes. So Gordon Barnes, who was third in the Club Challenge this year, did see him out racing in the Club Challenge and was always quick. Great fight going on at the moment. Now this is for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th positions. Francesco Garisto under attack from Jakub Krafek, who's got the Toyota of Fred Gabion right behind him. Gabion looking to try and squeeze his way through. There's almost contact as they head towards the chicane. Francesco Garisto bouncing off the curbs. Fred Gabion trying to go to driver's right, then decides that driver's left might offer up better possibilities as we ride on board with the Frenchman. Down through the gears, trying to get the car anchored up again. Everybody safely continuing on their way. Garisto in 7th position at the moment has picked up 9 places relative to his starting position. But look at the cars that are queuing up behind him at this stage. Oh, Fred Gabion makes a mistake, locks the rear wheels of the car, which skitters the Frenchman off into the grass. I think there might have been a little bit of contact there between the car of Gabion and Garisto, because that slows Garisto coming out of the corner, allows Patrick Hendricks, the car that's blinking, to go through and grab the place. So Hendricks now all of a sudden finds himself up into 7th position. Garisto down into 8th, and then under attack as diving up the inside goes Luca Canalore and outbrakes himself, I'm afraid to say. So Canalore goes off and onto the grass, and that all of a sudden allows Francesco Garisto to retake the place once more. Jakub Krafek a warning for causing an incident with Nave Talor. So that was the incident heading into the braking area for the bus stop. No drive-through penalty, but just a warning. I did say it must have been very light touch if there was. Couldn't tell from our camera angle, but race control have looked. And yes, just a very slight touch between the two. So this is Luca Canalore. Yeah, dives up the inside of Francesco Garisto, makes slight contact with him going in towards the corner as well. And Garisto got away with it. Canalore, who was the culprit, but didn't really... There was no intent there, but just outbraked himself. Came off the worst of the two. Because there is Francesco Garisto, still running around in 8th position and still under attack from Jakub Krafek. So, sports sales manager from Autodrome Most. He's having a really good run here. I was going to mention the numbers, wasn't I? If you weren't with us last year, you'll be wondering why the cars are numbered as they are. Well, any cars that are numbered less than 100, those drivers compete in EuroNASCAR Pro. That's the top level of European NASCAR that we have in the UK, so that's for pro drivers in reality. Cars that are numbered in their 100, so 101 up to 199, or 100 up to 199, those are for drivers that compete in EuroNASCAR 2. That's really for young and amateur drivers that race in EuroNASCAR 2, as we ride on board with Jakub Krafek, applying the pressure to Francesco Garisto. Cars that are numbered in the 300s, well, those are drivers, cars that are numbered in the 200s rather, are cars that compete in the Club Challenge. Club Challenge, that is the regularity tests that take part on some racing weekends in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Cars numbered 300 are for team members, so in other words it could be mechanics or crew chiefs of a particular team, and cars that are numbered in their 400s are for guests and influencers and track partners. And it is one of those cars that numbered 400 now, the number 458 car of Andre Weigold. I'm going to try and grab a quick word with, because he said he was happy to chat to us when the cars were out there racing. He is one of our media team within the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and is a good esports racer himself. Andre, are you with us?
Already told us that the cars are very powerful, the track is very slippery, the tires are gone after one lap. You start on the out lap of the qualifying. People were going totally slowly just to have tires for one fast lap. In the second one, you already have no pace left to find a good lap time. And in this race, I had a small spin in the infield area. Unfortunately, I made contact with Maximilian Heilek, and very sorry for that one. But in the end, yeah, it's more about surviving than driving very fast. Thanks for calling me a good sim racing driver. I say I'm a decent one, but the guys up front, those are the good ones.
Oh, they're a different gravy. Yeah, I'm racing in another esports series where we're racing Xfinity cars, and I thought I was quick, but the guys at the front are crazy quick. I see you're running a sequential box with the rig setup that you've got there. You're running a sequential box. Some of the drivers out there are running running stick shifts and probably heel and towing as well. So are you auto blipping on the way down, or have you set iRacing to do that for you?
I set iRacing on that particular track to do it because it's really tough to keep the car on track. Normally I do the H pattern too because I like it to have the realistic way of shifting in NASCAR cars. But on this track, I'm really here to survive and to have a little bit of fun with those guys and to present you that this sim racing competition is very tough. But I don't want to be any hazard for the guys, so I try to find the settings that are the best for everybody.
We'll leave you concentrate on your race. Good thing is I don't think you're going to finish last because Yevgen Sokolovsky has dropped out of this one, so you won't be on the back row of the grid. There. Thanks, Andre. We'll catch up with Andre a little bit later on because for the moment we've got a great fight going on between the two identical liveried cars, the number 99 car of Justin Coutts and his teammate Alain Mouscaron. So Alain Mouscaron, say a 2 times back-to-back EuroNASCAR Club Challenge champion, has just, I'm afraid, lost out there to the German who snuck his way through there. So Justin Coutts, 23 years of age, who finished 10th in the EuroNASCAR Pro standings last year. The top flight of European NASCAR racing goes through to grab what is 4th position, but he's a little bit slow coming out of the chicane, and I think Alain Mouscaron's going to go back through, and Henry Tuamala's going to sneak through as well. So just as Justin Coutts had grabbed 1 place, he loses 2 and drops from 4th, not down to 5th, but now down into 6th position. So a big shuffle there from what are all DF1 racing cars as well. So the 2 pink cars and the blue car sandwiched in the middle in the hands of the Scandinavian Henry Tuamala. So great little fight for what is the 4th, 5th and 6th positions. Well, the flag is showing at the moment that we've got very little time left in reality. So Alan Day now safely onto his last lap of the race. What's this? This is Jakob Krafek. Oh, a little bit of contact there as Krafek was trying to squeeze his way through on Francesco Garisto. And, well, not up to me to try and apportion blame, but I think Francesco Garisto should have held his line there. He appeared, to my eye, to come down lower than he needed to block off the run from Krafek, who was already alongside him. So Jakob Krafek, already having been involved in an incident early on and worked his way up through the order, has now got very little time to try and gain any more places because Alan Day is now onto his final lap of the race, bouncing his way through the bus stop, the first of the chicanes, absolutely beautifully negotiating the bus stop through the left and right flick on the way in, the right and left flick on the way out, building the speeds again as he heads through Speedway 3 and Speedway 4, and the 3 times EuroNASCAR Pro champion Alan Day is about to, I think, add another victory to his list here. He's already claimed more career wins in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series than anybody else. He managed to do that in the finals race weekend at Valencia, but for Alan Day, there goes the checkered flag. He's through and over the start-finish line and repeating in reality what he did at the prologue event in 2020, which was claiming victory in his heat. He was out in heat 1 of 2020. He wins heat 2, which is his heat in 2021. Simon Palat finishes in 2nd place. There's Alessandro Brigatti over the start-finish line, the youngster coming through in 3rd position. Alain Mouscaron will finish in 4th position. 5th place will go the way of Henry Tuamala. And Patrick Hendricks, despite the fact the car was blinking for a fair amount of the race with internet or connection issues, he finished in 6th place in the end. Justin Coutts was 7th, as you can see there on the left of your screen. Fred Gabby on 8th. Jakob Krafik after his grassy moments following the contact between himself and the car of Francesco Garisto, who didn't get away with it in the end. Krafik comes through and finishes in 9th place. Chris Lehman, a good recovery drive, I've got to say, finishing in 10th place in the end. Luca Caniore was 11th. Francesco Garisto with 8th. Gordon Barnes 9th. Nave Talor, who got tangled up with someone else there in 14th place after Barnes was 13th. 15th place goes the way of the next of the runners through, but the times I think have already disappeared because we are starting to get ready for what will be a 5-minute warm-up. So we will now have a 5-minute warm-up session. It allows the drivers to grab some water. It allows them to take a natural break, should we wish. Maxi Hilek was 15th. That's where we got to. Andre Weigold was 16th, and Yevgen Sokolovsky was 17th, but didn't finish the race. So that gives you the results for heat number 2. There's now a 5-minute warm-up session. Say some of the drivers will head out there for more track time. Others will take the opportunity to grab a quick drink and some refreshments, or take a natural break, or just relax for a few seconds before we will then head to the starting grid, in reality, for our championship race. So no championship points have been scored as yet this evening. It is the final race of the night where the championship points come. 40 points for a race win, as we have in the regular NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. 40 points for a race win. If you are able to grab that, and it diminishes from there on. So it's 35 points for second position, 34 points for third, 1 point less for every position thereafter. And remember, car that gains the most places from starting position to finishing position should also pick up an extra 4 championship points, and we'll try and keep you up to date with what is going on there. Now, I'm hoping we might get Alan Day in towards the commentary box to grab a quick word with us, but he's not. Excuse me, has yet appeared. So car's heading out there. Is he out on track? No, he's not out on track. Who have we got out on track? Yep, Jens Sokolovsky is out there. We can see his car there. The car that's ahead is one of the DF1 Racing pink cars. David Delara has taken the opportunity to head out there and just get what is in reality only going to be a couple of laps. So the way iRacing works, not like a normal race meeting for practice or qualifying, is that you finish the lap that you're on. The way iRacing works is, no, once the checkered flag comes out, and a few seconds after that, the server drops you out. So you don't get to complete the lap that you're on. So by the time it's a 5-minute warm-up, you've done your out lap. You're only going to get 1, possibly at the very best 2 flying laps in. So whilst the warm-up session is on, let's grab a quick word with our Heat 2 winner, and of course the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion, and 3 times a champion now, Alan Day. Alan, great to chat to you, mate. I didn't get the chance to chat to you last year, so well done on the Heat win. No, sorry, we're not getting you, Alan. Do apologise. So there might be a slight technical issue. So Alan Day has just dropped back out. No, so that's Alan Day's dropped into the waiting room. Right, we'll try and grab him back in a second. We don't have a lot of time to do it, though, unfortunately, because we are already nearly 3 minutes into this warm-up session. So Alan may already be now focusing on getting ready for his main race. So that being the case, I think we might hopefully have to catch up with Alan Day at the end of the evening. We'll see whether we can get him back in, but there's clearly a small little technical issue that he's trying to work on, and that will just affect his ability. Yep, he's gone now, so I don't think we are going to get the chance to chat to Alan Day, but I'm sure Alan, being Alan, he will be somewhere there or thereabouts by the end of the main championship race that is coming up very shortly, and we will certainly grab a word with the top 3 at the end of that. We'll grab a word also at the end of the evening with Andre Weigel, as Davide Delara has a big off into the banking in this warm-up session. So he will escape out of that and back to the pits. Of the cars that have gone out in this session and set times, and there aren't many of them as yet, Sebastian Bleeky-Molen has gone to the top of the times. Wow, there's another big accident as well, as Simon Palat takes a huge chunk out of the car that's rotating directly in front of him, and I don't think he can do a great deal about that. That was Alessandro Bugatti that had the big off. So they will escape back. Andre Weigel goes to the top of the times. Right, let's take a picture of that. So Andre at the top of the times. So my regular EuroNASCAR Esports co-commentator at the top of the times, Stefano Gustavaye, is heading around through Speedway 3 and 4 and about to come up towards the conclusion of the lap very shortly, is he? Paul Geoffroy, he was going well in free practice, and he's now gone to the top of the times in this one as well. So Paul Geoffroy briefly to the top of the times as Ulysse Delceau goes even quicker. So 17-year-old from France, Paul Geoffroy, no longer quickest. He's already down to 3rd quickest, because not only does Ulysse Delceau go quicker, but Tobias Dauenhauer also goes that little bit quicker. But we are now only a matter of 10 seconds away from the end of this session, and we will see the checkered flag come out. There is number 458, Andre Weigel, 30-year-old German. So he's not only busy as a commentator and as a journalist as well, he also runs his own company. Right, Alan Day is briefly with us. Alan, we won't keep you for long. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I do. But I have only
That's
50
fine.
seconds.
No, congratulations.
That's all
Congratulations on the heat win. If you want to chat, yeah, he's gone again. That's so. We'll chat to him at the end. We'll leave him concentrate on this race. So thank you, Alan Day. He's not got long. We'll let him concentrate on this race because he will want to win it. He might not be lining up on pole position. He will be on the outside of the front row of the grid. So it's Guillaume de Flandre on pole, Alan Day alongside Tobias Downhauer and Simon Palat on row number 2, Ulysse Delceau and Alessandro Brigatti on row number 3, Davide Dallara and Alain Muscaron on 4, ahead of the car that's there on the 5th row of the grid, which is going to be Paul Giuffreau and Henry Tuamala. Vladimiras Choitsis and Patrick Hendricks on row number 6, Livy Lanticanto and Justin Coots on row number 7, Roy Hendricks and Fred Gabion on 8, Stefano Gustavalle and Jakob Krafik on 9, Stefan Christine and Chris Lehman on row number 10. Giorgio Maggi, watch out for him from the 11th row of the grid with Luca Caniore for company. Then we've got Reen Janssen on the 12th row of the grid with Francesco Garisto, and at the back of the grid it is going to be the 369 car, which is going to be Michael Stolman, who's towards the tail end of the grid. So the cars are on their formation lap. They only do the best part of half a lap, if not a third of a lap formation lap. They start on the back straight just before the bus stop chicane, and then come out of that through Speedway 3, Speedway 4, through the NASCAR chicane on the front straight, and then they go onto the start-finish line. And remember, this is a 30-minute lap, and this is what carries the championship points. 40 points for a win, 35 if you're second, 34 if you're third. It diminishes by 1 point for every position thereafter, and whichever driver from starting position to finishing position gains the most places in this race will also net an additional 4 championship points. And as was originally the intention of the NASCAR Esports Series, you carry potentially points into the Teams Championship through into the main championship. I know another championship has recently announced that they've done that, made esports racing count for the real championship for real. This was the first one to do it because we did it at the beginning of 2020 in the inaugural Esports Series. Buckle up, everybody. We go green for the first final of the 2021 EuroNASCAR Esports season, and it is Guillaume de Flandre who leads. It's going to be Alan Day in second place. Tobias Downhauer is side by side with Simon Palat for third position, but also coming under attack from Alessandro Brigatti. They're all safely, I think, through the first couple of corners, but then someone runs very wide. That is Davide Dallara that's on the grass heading up towards the East Horseshoe, but he manages to hang on to the number 89 Chevy and keeps it pointing in the right direction. Further back down through the field, we've had a big rotation though, and that was the car on the infield that's had a huge spin. I think that might have been Michael Stolman for Team Bleaky Molen that's dropped to the very tail end of the field as a result of something that happened towards the back end of the pack. But Guillaume de Flandre leads the race. Alan Day in the PK Car Sport Monster Energy back Chevy sitting there in second position, but under attack from Tobias Downhauer. Tobias Downhauer was so quick in this equivalent series last year. Let's just have a quick look at Davide Dallara. Gordon Barnes gets in towards the tail end. Sorry, that's Santa Vauxatoria that had the spin. Gordon Barnes got into the tail end of him with a little bit of contact. But Alan Day will be desperately wanting to try and convert the heat win into an overall win. But for the moment, Guillaume de Flandre is quick out of the blocks, isn't he? And opening up a little bit of an advantage in the early stages. This is 6th and 7th place. Ulysse Delceau fighting away with Davide Dallara. The two Chevys together. The Italian trying to hunt down the young Frenchman that lies ahead. And in the early stage of this, I'm not surprised there's battles going on wherever you look. That is Francesco Garisto, already damaged to the tail end of his car following the first lap shenanigans. He's a long way down through the order, down in 18th position. Well, really launches over the curves. That's not going to do the car any good at all, taking that much curb going in towards the NASCAR chicane. Oh, and there's a big accident coming out as well. Giorgio Maggi gets tangled up with Justin Coots, I'm afraid to say. Severe amount of damage to the front end of Giorgio Maggi's car. That's going to drop him right the way down through the order and surely head towards pit lane area. And with half an hour, he can choose to get the car repaired. Let's just have a quick look at what happened. We're looking at Andre Weigold. Was he tangled up in it? Oh, sailing up the inside. So late on the brakes. Not exactly sure why he was so late on the brakes there, but Yevgen Sokolovsky almost fell asleep, one would have thought, because he clearly had no real retardation on the car. Sailed up the inside of Andre Weigold and clobbered into everybody, I'm afraid to say. Alain Muscaron through all of this mayhem, is now up into 19th position. Simon Palat under attack for 6th position as Davide Dallara starts to ask a few questions of the young stars. Contact then between the pair of them coming out of turn 6 and turn 7. Simon Palat gets turned half the way around, rejoins the circuit, but is still going to be bearing damage as a result of that and has lost momentum. And it now means that Davide Dallara, who slightly got away with that, is coming under attack now for 6th position from the Cypriot driver, Vladimiras Joitsis. Vladimiras, another driver who has recently announced that he will return to the championship for 2021, the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. He had a great debut season, the Cypriot driver, finished 4th overall and has signed for Academy Motorsport for 2021, which is the new collaboration between Alex Caffey Motorsport and Federico Monti in association with Race Art Technology, so the brand new team that's being developed. And Joitsis, for his 2nd season, is going to be returning to the tracks. And in EuroNASCAR 2, surely having finished 4th in his rookie year, you would suggest that he might be a front runner and want to watch out for the overall championship perhaps. So De Flandre still leads. There is the race leader. You can see the gap between himself and the black car of Alan Day. That is now 2 seconds between the pair of them. Alan Day has just about a second in hand between himself and the Hendricks Motorsport Ford of Tobias Dauenhauer that sits there in 3rd position. So Alan Day was 3rd in the Esports Series last year. He's 2nd in the race. Tobias Dauenhauer last year was runner-up in the Esports Series. He sits 3rd in the race. So again, the drivers that we expected to be at the sharp end are. Such a shame we don't have our reigning champion returning, Andre Castro. That's Stefano Gustavaye having a big moment in the Cal Racing Chevy. Oh, rejoins and almost made contact with the car that was taking the normal circuits. He rejoined off the grass there. There was almost contact, but just about got away with it. See, I was saying, shame we don't have the reigning esports champion with us. I know he's watching from at home. Andre Castro would be desperate that he could get out there, but I think his studies overlapped with the start of this evening. So, understandably, priorities are, studies and the education. And as much as he'd like to be in this race, esports racing has to come second to his main studies at the stage of life that he's at. But let's hope that we see him back for the remainder of the season, because he has been very, very quick. And recently here at Daytona in the Rolex 24-hour, the iSports race, which I was also involved in, I think he finished 2nd overall in his prototype class. Substantially better result than I had in the Rolex 24-hour here. Justin Coote's drive-through penalty for causing contact with Giorgio Maggi on lap number 1. So that has been looked at by race control. Vladimiras Joitsis is getting pushed along here by Alessandro Bagatti, who I think almost bumped into the tail end of him and was looking to try and gain the place. Not able to do so. I'm looking down towards the tail end of the field to see where Andre Weigold is at the moment. And he is running down in 29th position. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and the car ahead, so in another few laps I'll probably grab a quick word with Andre. Won't do it just as yet because we're concentrating on this great battle further up through the order as Joitsis is about to get picked off here by Alessandro Bagatti, who opened the door on the run in towards the East Horseshoe and is going to be able to squeeze his way through. Simon Palat can't quite make it though in the car behind, the 166, so Simon Palat just missing out there. Driver who's moving over to DF1 Racing for the 2021 season. So Palat still sits there in 8th position as we ride on board now with the 6th place car. Alessandro Bagatti looking back at 7th place and Vladimiras Joitsis. You can hear the blip on the downshift to try and match the engine revs to prevent the back end locking up. You can see the tail end of Vladimiras Joitsis' car starting to break away with a mixture of applying the power and the transition as you come off the infield and back onto the banking. Very difficult to try and get the car hooked in there. The car wants to automatically slide up the banking as well at that point of the track. And Joitsis now, if anything, in 7th place is coming under pressure from the car behind because Simon Palat, who is running in 8th place, started 4th, remember, so he was right up there in the early stages but has dropped back now, bearing the damage as well. You can see down the side of the car to the left rear quarter as well has got a scuff, showing how close the racing is. And already, would you believe, we're a third of the way through this race almost, aren't we? So what we got 7 minutes and 40 seconds of the race already done and dusted of the scheduled 30 minutes. No full course cautions, all dealt with via localised cautions in this one. And Vladimira's choices here, I think, might be struggling a little bit. Yeah, I think every corner, other than that right-hand side of the car, the rest of the car, front, back and rear, all looks as though it's carrying some damage. Now, this is Stefan Krisin. He sits there in 12th position at this stage. He's got the 348 Chevy. That would be Chris Lehman that was sitting behind. Yeah, there is Chris Lehman. You can see him directly behind. Chris Lehman, who is one of the media team for Marco Steep Motorsport, who's having a good run here. Didn't have the look in his heat, Chris Lehman, when he qualified. What was it, 6th or 8th place? Dropped all the way down through the order as a result of contact that, according to race control, was deemed not to be his fault. And he is now applying the pressure to Stefan Krisin, who is a very, very experienced esports racer. Here is Andre Weigold. He now is running down in 29th position. So let's see if we can bring him in and have another chat with Andre Weigold. He's on the infield section. We can see a snatch of the break there from Andre Weigold. And Andre, I'm hoping you're able to join us again. We've left it for a quiet moment of the race. You're running in 29th position. You're, what, about 5 seconds off Jakob Krafik at this stage. How's it going?
Yeah, we have a special thing we say in Germany. Sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the tree. In the first heat, I did a mistake and I made a mistake. And this time I was just a passenger, but I tried to recover. The car has some damage. The handling is not perfect, so I lowered the pace. I say I just want to stay on the track and hopefully pass some wrecked guys, spinning guys, or guys getting penalties. I don't care. Every position is now good, but as I said at the beginning, I'm not here to compete at the front. I'm just here to have some fun and not to be a hazard and to learn something from the fast guys and just enjoy this great competition in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series.
Well, I know, I've driven the Xfinity cars, and I'm going to be competing in the iRacing Daytona 500 Saturday morning. It will be the lobby that I'll drop into. Now, I know damage on those cars around the ovals just kills them. You just can't keep up with the pack. We're racing on the road course. How much different is it when you're carrying that damage on the road course? Do you get away with it a little bit more?
I think on other tracks, yes. On this one, not, because you have no tires. The handling is so slippery. The balance is so free. So every damage worsens the car's balance. And on this track, this is crucial. So I have no chance in getting my good laps. I think I could run 2 or 3 seconds faster with no damage. But in the end, I don't care right now. I just check if there's somebody flying from the behind. I don't want to be in the way of Alan Day or Guillaume de Flandre. And please, video guy, show some interesting stuff while I'm talking. No problem with that. I'm just going to survive, and I see some smoke in front of me. So maybe there's a chance for me to gain a position.
Gain some more places. It's going to be a bit, just quickly before we'll head back to racing in a moment, it's going to be a busy week for you as well, with what you do with leadlap.net and your website and your company. What's going on at Daytona? We're a little appetizer for the clash, really, and then it's a busy week at Daytona. You'll be reporting on all of that.
Yes, of course. I'm looking so forward to the Daytona 500. I was there last year in person when the president was there, great racing with all the big wreck of Ryan Newman right in front of us.
Yeah.
It was a great week. We were happy when Ryan Newman walked away without any scratch. And yeah, looking forward. It's a great American race. It's the biggest race of the year, and it's the beginning of the season. So the next days will be very busy with the Xfinity, with the Truck Series, with the Clash, with the Duels, and then, of course, the Daytona 500. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we'll let you crack on again. We'll look back at some of the action that's going on out on 6. There's Andre Weigold. We'll chat to him at the end of the evening as well, because we are now heading towards halfway through this race almost. So 14 minutes gone, 16 minutes to go. Guillaume de Flandre leads still from Alan Day. We're looking at Gordon Barnes at the moment, running in 19th position. Up towards then Fred Gabion, who's running in 11th place and has a big old queue of cars behind him. Fred Gabion. Fred, it's great to see Fred back racing. I think he was on the entry list for the EuroNASCAR Esports Series last year, but I don't think Fred made an appearance off the top of my head. I think there were issues with the delivery of his rig, because everybody in lockdown when we had our sort of first pandemic and the whole world was locked down, everybody was buying esports equipment, so the waiting lists were enormous. They're still big now, and I don't think Fred's kit arrived in time, so I think he opted to not compete in the series. So it's great to see him out there and driving in this one. And being kept rather busy as well. Another driver that's being kept busy is Luca Caniore, who is the team manager for Cal. We saw him there under pressure from the car of Paul Giffreau. This is a replay of, that's Levi Lintercantu. Right, too much throttle coming out of the corner. Tail end of the car that was in 23rd position breaks away. So Levi Lintercantu now running much further down through the order. And, Paul Giffreau has made it through and ahead of Luca Caniore. Chris Lehman looking to try and gain places. Nave Talor firing it off the circuit there to his left. So Chris Lehman, there is Nave Talor there. So Nave Talor all over the grass. Chris Lehman fighting away with Stefan Crescine, but Nave Talor now going to come under pressure from Roy Hendricks, who should easily pick him off, as the Ford has far more momentum coming out of the bus stop chicane. What happened there for Nave? That's the tail end of it. It's the beginning of it that we just didn't quite see. Just seemed to maybe lose the car coming on the used tyres off Speedway 2, and the car spat in from one side of the circuit to the other, but he's still continuing round. He's not come into the pit lane. Big bounce over the curbs from the Israeli driver. Now this is Stefan Crescine under pressure from Chris Lehman. So it's the American Fan Fest car under attack from the media team member for Marco Steep Motorsport. You can see how much later, just listen to how much later they're applying the throttle now than they were in the early stages of the race. Onto the brakes, that blip again to match the revs on the downshift. Stefan Crescine runs a little bit wide, allows up the inside Chris Lehman very easily to gain the position. So Lehman now up into 12th position. Stefan Crescine down into 13th place. And then 14th, 15th and 16th is this battle we look at now. Roy Hendricks under a pressure from Nave Talor, and Nave Talor, the meat in the sandwich, having to defend from the Ford that sits behind him whilst trying to attack the Ford ahead. So Paul Giffreau it is behind. Car number 264. Paul Giffreau is one of those drivers that I think has just recently announced, or is about to announce very shortly, that he's going to join the Club Challenge for 2021. He's done a lot of work with Luca Lasserre's Speedhouse team in the past, and that's where he's keeping his fingers crossed that he's able to join. I think the final announcement almost imminent now. I think deal has been pretty much done and dusted. Just the last few ends to tie up, and then we'll see him in the Club Challenge, which is the regularity test for drivers that take place usually on the Thursdays and possibly into the early part of the Fridays on race weekends for the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So 7th position is Simon Palat. You can see Guillaume de Flandre now, 6 seconds up the road from Alan Day, depending on where they are on circuit, because the gaps continually increase or decrease depending on whether a car is under acceleration or under braking. You can see the gap flicking around all the time. Tobias Downhauer in 3rd place, Ulysse Del Sol, Davide Dallara and Alessandro Brigatti wrap up the top 6. Back to the fight that's going on for what is 12th and 13th place. Chris Lehman having unpicked Stefan Crescine on the lap prior, heading in towards the East Horseshoe. This time, at turn 1, Stefan Crescine returns the favour. Now, is he going to get on the brakes at the right point this time for the East Horseshoe? Brake that little bit earlier at the wheel of the American Fan Fest Chevy. Grabbed the apex. Didn't run as wide. Yeah, hangs on to the place. Corner, he made the mistake last time. He does not repeat the same this time through. But then runs a little bit wide on the way out of the corner. 2 wheels on the grass. And through goes Chris Lehman once more. So great little battle between these two Chevys. But at the moment, it is Chris Lehman that has the upper hand once more. And I think whilst they are squabbling, it's going to bring Roy Hendricks and probably Paul Giffreau into the mix as well. Now this is Jakob Kraftbeck in one of just 2 Toyotas we've got in the field. Sneaking up the inside of Rien Janssen, the Dutch driver. And Rien Janssen, who is car chief for, I think it's the 46 car, the number 46 car for Marco Steep Motorsport, losing a place. Back towards the sharp end, running in 5th position, Alessandro Brigatti. Going beautifully well. 10 minutes of the race to go for Alessandro Brigatti. 7th in the Esports Series in 2020 was Alessandro. Finished 3rd place overall in the EuroNASCAR 2 Championship standings last year, having finished 11th in them the year prior. Now, Davide Dallara is going to lose out here as a result of running really wide through the bus stop. Needs to be careful how he rejoins. The transition off the apron back onto the banking's not easy. So, yeah, that was a quick replay of how Davide Dallara dropped from what would have been 5th down to 7th position. And for Davide Dallara, he's only got 10 minutes to try and make that back up now. Davide, the Challenger champion for 2020. Now we are on board with Tobias Downhauer. This is 3rd place. This is the final spot on the overall podium. Tobias Downhauer under pressure from Ulysse Delso. Different livery for Ulysse Delso. But the Hendricks Ford is at the moment just holding off the RDV competition Chevy. So nice to see an RDV car back out there competing. We didn't see anything of Frank Viola's team in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in 2020 at all. Frank and the team decided to sit out the somewhat restructured season, as so many international sports were restructured. And now Paul Geoffroy has been given a warning for causing an incident with Davide Talor. That was on lap number 8, so that was a lap and a bit ago now. But Ulysse Delso is still pushing hard. Here we go on board with the 23-year-old Frenchman trying to hunt down Tobias Downhauer, the German that lies ahead. But for the moment, the battle of the two 23-year-olds, it's Tobias Downhauer that sits ahead, and at the moment he's on for the final podium spot. Which way are the extra 4 points for gaining the most places starting position to finishing position going, I hear you ask? Well, the answer is at the moment, Max Lancer. He might be down in 20th position, but he has gained 13 places. And make that 12, because he's just lost out to Stefano Gustavaya again. But he's the only driver that is in double figures. The next largest gain we've had, I think, is 9 places, which is Nave Talor and Gordon Barnes, both on 9 places. So it's still all up for grabs at the moment. In fact, Max Lancer has now dropped down 2 more places since I last picked up on it, and has now only gained 8 places. So you can see how much it's swinging round for that extra 4 championship points for the driver that gains the most places. I'll keep you up to date on that. We've got, 10 minutes of this race to go. Ulysse Delso is not giving up his aspirations at trying to get that green and yellow Chevy through and ahead of the familiarly liveried Hendricks Ford. Hendricks did so well in the team championship last year. Hendricks Motorsport, little brush off the wall there from Tobias Downhauer, which might just have caused his car to slow a little bit. The number 50 Hendricks Ford won the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Teams Championship. The number 50 Hendricks Ford finished 2nd in the Esports Teams Championship last year. So whichever drivers they've had, it's always been quick car, quick drivers. Remember, all the setups are the same on these cars as well. Whether it be a Ford or a Chevy or a Toyota, the base setup is all agreed. It's all set. Every driver is running exactly the same setup. It's just the shape of the car and the badge on the front that's different. And at the moment, there is nothing to choose between these two 23-year-olds. Tobias Downhauer still hanging on to the final podium spot from Alessandro Brigatti. Both of them pushing as hard as they can. And if anything now, just slowing each other up very slightly. So this is Francesco Garisto. Yeah, and off for him. That's coming out of turn number 6, just up on towards the banking. So that has dropped Garisto way down towards the tail end of the field now, I'm afraid to say. So he is down in something like 31st position. Now these two cars are circulating at the moment slower than the cars behind them. So Ulysse Delso and Tobias Downhauer just need to be careful they don't ease off too much. There's still 8 minutes to go. They've still got a bit of a gap between themselves and the next car. Alessandro Brigatti would be the next of the cars, and he's about 5 seconds off them at the moment. 4 maybe, depending on where they are on the circuit. So they can't afford to ease their pace too much, because Tobias Downhauer's lapping, or was lapping, in the 1 minute 59s. Now that Ulysse Delso has got through and ahead, I suspect he'll just pull away. So Ulysse Delso having gained the position, the final podium spot. Can he do anything about hunting down 6 seconds on Alan Day? I would very much doubt it in the remaining 7.5 minutes as we go on board with the race leader. 10 seconds to the good now for Guillaume de Flandre. and it is the car in the hands of the 23-year-old Belgian for Speedhouse Racing, the Chevy that leads the race. He's about to come over the start-finish line and complete lap number 12. Just touches the curb up to this difficult transition where you need to brake and try and straighten up the corner. That's it, so just grab the first kink, let the car run wide to the second kink, downshift, make sure you don't hit the tyres on the inside of that corner as well. Feed the power in gently on the way out of the corner as well, once the car's rotated to where you need it. There's the tyre stack on the inside, feed the power in, ride the curbs through the left and the right kink, and then get the car all the way over to the left-hand side of the circuit, onto the brakes, in towards the right-hander, and then feed the power in, touch the curb on the exit if you want. You can let the car run a lot wider there, but we are of course a long way into the race. The tyres, as we've heard from Andre Weigold, will be feeling pretty second-hand now, and you can see the continual steering input that Alan Day is having to put in all of the time, working at the wheel, the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro Champion, who of course has done some racing on this side of the Atlantic, has Alan Day. On more than one occasion we've seen him out in whether it be Xfinity or the main NASCAR series, the camping truck series as well. Alan Day, a 3 times champion, more career wins in EuroNASCAR than anybody. And off there, now that's Sebastian Bleekie-Molden that's had a big off. That's at the bus stop. He's only just recovering now. Andre Weigold goes past. I think Yevgen Sokolovsky also made it past. What happened to Sebastian Bleekie-Molden? Let's have a quick look. Car's already somewhat battered, turns his way into towards the second part of it. Yeah, it just got away from him, didn't it? Oh, not as big a hit into the wall as I thought, but yeah, more damage. More bodywork now missing off the Team Bleekie-Molden number 69 car. It was looking second-hand anyway. Just looks slightly second-hand, more second-hand now. And all of that aids the cause of Andre Weigold, who, when we last spoke to him, was in 29th position. He's now up into 27th place. And what he said he wanted to do was stay out of trouble and not get in anybody's way. Well, for the moment, he's certainly staying out of trouble. There's hardly a mark on the car relative to some that are more than bearing the scars. Is there a little tack on the back? No, I don't think there is. I think his car's pretty much untouched. And at the moment, he's in 27th place, but he's only a couple of seconds up the road from Yevgen Sokolovsky, who's beginning to hunt him down at the wheel of the Gulf liveried car. Navetalo, almost. I thought Stefano Gusavalle was going to get into the tail end of him there. But the two of them still continue as we ride on board the number 354 car in the hands of the Cal Racing team member. So usually one of the mechanics on the number 54 car. And the 34-year-old Italian pushing hard here. Is he going to get the car anchored up? Oh, a bit too much curb there. You could hear the car just wasn't quite stopping as quickly as he wanted to. And he's not got many more laps to try and hunt down Navetalo that sits ahead, because we are now only a matter of a minute and 20 seconds away from the checkered flag coming out, which means that Guillaume de Flandre, as he heads in towards the bus stop for what is now the 14th time in this race, will be on his penultimate lap of the race. He'll be heading over the start-finish line to start the final lap shortly. Yes, one of just 2 Toyotas we've got in the field. Jakob Krafek, car that's ahead of him. Now, is that Max Lancer that's ahead? Yes, it is. And so that's Max Lancer that's ahead. Now, Max Lancer at the moment has still gained 12 places. He might be 21st. That's the 188 car of Max Lancer as it's showing on the car, but it is running as car number 88. It's just the livery that's not quite right on it. But yeah, he has already gained 12 places. And at the moment, that is just one of 2 cars that are in double figures for places gained. The other car that's in double figures is Navetalo, now in 18th position, having gained 10 places. So where the 4 points, the additional championship points are going for the most places gained, is still slightly up for dispute, I would say. Great view of the front left wheel of Patrick Hendrick's car as he looks to try and get past Henry Tuamala, who makes a mistake going into the second of the 2 chicanes. So Patrick Hendricks, who's still blinking away and got internet issues, now up into 9th position. and potentially attacking Vladimir Tjoitsis as well. Now this is Max Heilig. What happened to him? A big spin for Max Heilig coming out of the corner. That's out of the East Horseshoe. As for Vladimir Tjoitsis, he's going to want to try and hang on to 8th position here. Another quick replay, Stefano Garisto. This is heading up in towards turn number 6, up towards Speedway 3. And another mistake. Does he keep it out the tyres? Yes, he does. Just about avoids it, but Garisto's down in 31st place. He's having a rather rotten race, I've got to say. Stefano Gustavaye looking as though he's just recovered from a spin as well. So Nave Talor goes through. Luca Caniore, team boss, about to see whether he can gain a place. So this is car number 354, which is Stefano Gustavaye, has got the boss, the team manager. Luca Caniore sitting directly behind. Alan Muscaron running wheel to wheel with Stefan Crescine. Stefan Crescine on the outside line. That's going to make it tight. Muscaron has the inside line. Stefan Crescine will try and cut back on the exit of the corner. And the back-to-back Club Challenge champion just hanging on to what is 14th position there. Nave Talor still fighting away with Stefano Gustavaye. Now that could be important because at the moment that means that Nave Talor has now only gained 9 positions, not the 10 that he had gained as the 354 goes through. Can Nave Talor try and fight back? Because at the moment Max Lancer is going to gain the extra 4 championship points because he's gained 11 places. But our race leader, Guillaume de Flandre, is now on his last lap of the race and runs wide, coming up towards the kink. Needs to get the car anchored up. Good job, he's built up a good advantage. He is on the grass. He's going to rejoin, but he's got a 13-second lead there between himself and Alan Day. And, by George, he almost needed that there, didn't he? Because he threw the car off the road. Car behind also heading off the circuit, but Guillaume de Flandre almost threw the race away there. And on the very final lap as well. So just needs to ease things off now. He's still got the best part of 11 seconds in hand between himself and Alan Day. So doesn't need to worry too much. He could just gather his thoughts for these final few corners. Out of Speedway 2, down the straight and in towards the left and right flick at the bus stop, followed by the right and left flick. There is a car behind, but that is a car that is a lap down, so he doesn't need to worry about Yevgen Sokolovsky, because Yevgen is the first of the cars that is off the lead lap, running down in 26th position. But for Guillaume de Flandre, safely out of the bus stop, up towards Speedway 3, on towards Speedway 4. We saw a win in the 2020 NASCAR Esports Series at Brands Hatch. It was round 1 of the championship last year, where in the main race, Guillaume de Flandre claimed top honours. Well, it might be a different circuit for round 1 this year, but it is still the same result. Guillaume de Flandre is going to come through and claim the 40 points to open up his points tally in the 2021 EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Congratulations to him. Of course, run in partnership with i-cin.com and SimRacingLeague.it. Alan Day finishes in 2nd position. And we will see who comes through in 3rd. It is Ulysse Delceau who finishes in 3rd position to complete the podium. Tobias Dauenhauer finishes in 4th place. Alessandro Brigatti should be in 5th place. There goes now over the start-finish line. That is Simon Palat who finishes in 6th position. So, yeah, Tobias Dauenhauer in 4th, Alessandro Brigatti in 5th. Simon Palat about to do some donuts as he finishes in 6th position. Davide Dallara was 7th, Patrick Hendricks 8th, Vladimir Tjoitsis there in 9th place. And it should be, and indeed it is, Henry Tuamala that completes the top 10 drivers. We'll run you fully down through the order very, very shortly. We're going to grab a word with our top 3 drivers as well, as and when they get out of their cars, but they'll all be driving around the circuit and celebrating, I'm absolutely sure, after what has been a great opening night for the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. Well, it is just the opening night as well, because we've got plenty of other rounds coming up as well. Stick with us for the interviews, but the 23rd of February, Tuesday the 23rd of February, round 2 of the championship, it will be at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit, one of the regular circuits we visit in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Then after that, the 9th of March, we'll head to Watkins Glen. The 23rd of March, highly likely to be the Charlotte Roval, but if the Hockenheim circuit is released by iRacing in time for the drivers to test reasonably on there, then it could well be that we go to Germany for that round, another one of our partner circuits, Hockenheimring, and the double points finals will be at Zolder for the final race in the Esports Series. So we're going to start to get drivers coming to join us in the commentary box very, very shortly. Celebrations continuing out on the circuit, and we will see whether we can grab a quick word with the likes of Alain Day and Guillaume de Flandre. So confirmation of the results. Guillaume de Flandre claims the win by 11.9 seconds from Alain Day, and Ulysse Delceau will complete the podium. Tobias Downhauer, Alessandro Brigatti and Simon Palat finishing 4th, 5th and 6th, with Davide Delar in 7th, Patrick Hendricks in 8th and Vladimir Choitzis 9th, with Henry Tuamala completing the top 10. Then it was Fred Gabillon from Chris Lehman, Paul Geoffroy, Alan Muscaron and Stefan Cressine completing the top 15, ahead of Gordon Barnes, Nave Talor and Luca Caniore, who finished in 18th position. After Luca Caniore, it was Stefano Gustavalle 19th and Jakob Krafek in 20th. Max Lancer was 21st, ahead of Levi Lintekantu, Roy Hendricks, Michael Stolman, Arjen Jensen. Yevgen Sokolovsky was the first of the cars a lap down as he finished in 26th position, ahead of Max Heilig, Andre Weigel, Sebastian Bleeky-Molen, Santa Vauxatorium and Francesco Garisto, who were all a lap off the lead. Retirements for Justin Kuntz, for Giorgio Maggi and for Igor Romanov. So we've got first of a few drivers joining us in the commentary box. I'm going to chat to our race winner first. We spoke to you after the heat win, Guillaume de Flandre. It was all going to plan in the race for you, but did we spot a mistake on the final lap?
Yeah, a little bit mistake in the last corner, the last laps, yeah. But I think, a little bit too fast, maybe.
It was just at the kink where it washed out. It was a good job that you got a good lead in the early stages, because had you not have, Alan Day could have been there.
Yeah. Sorry.
So you claimed a win in the first round of the 2021 championship at Brands Hatch. You claim a win in the first round of this one at Daytona.
Yeah, exactly. But the race was long. It was important to preserve the tire, to have a constant rate all along the race. I will often look at where along the what to see if I go faster or slower. I really create a strategy for the tires, but it was fun. The start was clean, and good job, Alan. You were really fast. Sorry, and Ulysse, congratulations for the P3.
Well, thank you, Guillaume de Flandre. A chance for chatting to. Let's bring Alan Day in, because Alan's in the commentary box as well. Alan wasn't to be this evening, but it's good championship points and a great start to the season.
Yeah. First of all, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, it was a good race. I didn't have a lot of time to practice for specifically on this track and the car. But first of all, congratulations to Guillaume and to Ulysse. I know Guillaume was on a different planet. I don't know what he's doing there on his team. I'm pretty sure he's cheating on something. I don't know. His speed is unbelievable, really. So congratulations to him. And it was a good round. I'm pretty surprised to be actually in P2, but it was a safe one. To be honest, pretty boring one. I was totally alone since I lost to Bias. I was driving alone with myself. So yeah, that's it.
Just talk us through, because I know we didn't get the chance to chat to you after your heat win. I didn't get the chance to chat you all the way throughout the 2020 season, but 2020, the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series season, saw you claim your 3rd title and saw you go to the top of the all-time winners list. A great year.
We moved to reality, I guess. Yeah, it was a good season. What can I say? It was a crazy one with the COVID and everything, and the fact that I moved to Belgium and live with the guys with PK Car Sports and everything. And it was a good year after all to experience something new and new challenges. And fortunately, we finished on top and we managed to get the trophy and the 3rd title and the all-time wins. I think I got it. Yeah, it was a good one. let's hope 2021 will be even better. I still don't know my plans exactly, but hopefully it will announce in the next couple weeks. Yeah, here we are in iRacing, so up to Brands Hatch, I think, is the next round, right?
Brands Hatch is the next round, and Brands Hatch here, and I don't want to
I like that track.
You like it, but Brands Hatch was the one where you made a mistake last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Brands Hatch is that track. I made a mistake, and I think I killed half of the grid. Good times, yeah.
You finished third last year in the Esports Series. You'll be wanting to go one, if not two, better this year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't know where the rest of the guys are. Loris, Castro, Andre Castro, Sorensen. I don't know. We really miss them this event, but hopefully they will come and race with us in Brands Hatch, and we will bring even more. Someone have to give some competition to Guillaume. I mean, that's even illegal. So I hope Castro will come back, and we will see some sparks flying up.
Thanks, and I'm going to bring Guillaume de Flandre back in. We know Andre Castro was busy with studies, that's why he couldn't make it. So Guillaume de Flandre, I'll bring you back in if I may, as the race winner. Alan was saying, you've got some unbelievable pace. He said he didn't get much chance to test. Have you turned a lot of laps around here, Guillaume? Have you done lots of testing?
Yeah, I'm during the week. I train a little bit. 10, 20 laps, and yeah, I don't like Daytona, but after the test with the NASCAR, I love it. Seriously, it's really fun, but it's really difficult because you have a lot of oversteering and understeering, but it was fun, really.
Are you looking forward to Brands Hatch?
Yeah,
for round
I
2
love
of
it.
the Esports Series, yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite track, but I prefer in reality. The virtual is really fun, but it's not the same.
And if we go back to real racing, you're racing in tonight's car. You're racing for Michigan Motors and Speedhouse. Are we likely to see more of you in 2021 in the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series?
Yeah, but this year it's difficult with the COVID. But I try to find the budget to participate the championships. Yeah, I want, but it's a little bit difficult. Yeah.
Well, let's hope that you do it. So congratulations, Guillaume de Flandre and Alan Day, first and second. And now joining us in the commentary box, welcome guys. We've got Ulysse Delso. Ulysse, well done, third position. You must be really pleased.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy. Last year I was P4, and for the first race in Daytona, I make my first podium, and I'm very happy.
I notice on social media, Ulysse, you spend a lot of time on esports racing. That clearly helps when it comes to driving these NASCARs around Daytona.
I'm training 2 times, 3 times, I believe, yes.
And that helps,
I was 3 times on the simulator in Saint-Lié, because I'm not... sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I know your English isn't as good, and it's better than my French, so don't worry at all. So you're looking forward to the next round. We head to Brands Hatch, a circuit that you like.
Yes, I like Brands Hatch, and I will try to do my best. And this season, for my second time in esports, it's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure to
race in it.
To race again. Sorry.
It's a pleasure to have you, Ulysse. Congratulations on third position. Really well done.
Thank you very much. We'll Guillaume and Alan Day.
Well done. So there we go. There's Ulysse.
All the driver.
Okay, we'll pass all of that on. Congratulations to you, Lee Stelso. We'll grab a quick word with Tobias Downhauer as well. Tobias, wow, what a fight you were having with you, Lee Stelso. The two of you were together lap after lap after lap. He finally took the podium place away from you.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to Ulysse, Alan, and Guillaume. They did a great job. They were really fast during the whole race. So I think I struggled a bit with the tires at the end. So I tried to improve to manage my tires better for the next race. And yeah, as I said, I'm a beginner in sim racing, so I try to improve, and I'm looking forward to the next race.
Well, for a beginner in sim racing, you did okay last year.
Yeah, it was a good season. I think I was very constant the whole races and the whole season on, and so hopefully I can do this year again the same like last season, and we will see what we stay at the end.
Yeah, because you in the main championship races of the esports series, you claimed 1 overall win, but you were second in the championship standings. It was that consistency that you were talking about, wasn't it, in the esports series last year?
Yeah, exactly. And I think Daytona isn't my favorite track the whole season, so I'm looking forward to Brands Hatch. I like it a lot, and we will see where we are in Brands Hatch.
Where do you think you'll be at Brands Hatch? You know, we saw Guillaume de Flandre claim his overall win at Brands Hatch in the esports series last year. When you want to be at the top of the podium for sure.
Yeah, that's my aim, but I'm happy to be on the podium. So next time, 1 place more in front, and then I'm happy.
We've spoken to the other drivers about their plans for the main NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for 2021. Of course, last year you were runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2. Are you sticking with EuroNASCAR 2? Are you moving up to Pro, or have you not announced what you're doing as yet for 2021?
Yeah, I think I will stay in EuroNASCAR 2 with Hendrix Motorsport. The cockpits in EuroNASCAR Pro are not that much for Hendrix Motorsport. We have a lot of drivers, so I think I will stay in this class, and I try to win the championship this time.
Well, you weren't far away last time, but well done on 4th place this evening. Congratulations. We'll see you at Brands Hatch in a few weeks.
Thank you.
There we go. That's our top 4 drivers dealt with. There's one more driver that I do want to chat to, though, and that's Andre. I'm going to bring Andre back in again. Andre, you finished 29th in the end. We saw you at the giddy heights of 27th, but you lost a few places towards the end.
Yeah, the last lap was not my best. I'm not a race car driver, so you will not get the usual answer. The car was not good. The track was bad. I totally say it was my fault. I did a mistake. Then there was contact afterwards. It was too much chaos in the last lap, but in the end, I'm happy. I'm in the top 30. Can you say that's something good? For me, it is something fine. So I think it was a pretty tough race because of the tires, because those V8 monsters are very tough to tame on this track. And I think in Brands Hatch, it's getting even worse for the back markers like me, because traffic will be very important on that short track when we have 36 cars on the grid. And I think when we have such a difference between the paces, we will see some interesting traffic stuff. If I make it into the 36 grid, then I will just try to stay out of trouble like this time. It's not easy because the racetrack is narrower than you think when there are many cars on the track. When you're alone, everything's fine. But when there are other cars, it's a completely different world.
And you know, these are not easy cars to drive. Brands Hatch is a short circuit, which means you're talking about the relative speeds between the front of this pack and the back of the pack for the amateur drivers like you compared to the pros. And very quickly they are going to be catching up with you and putting laps on you. And it's a Brands Hatch. You know, even last year, we go back to Alan Day saying he made a small mistake and nearly took out half of the field. That was on a restart. All he did was put a very slight wheel on the grass under hard acceleration at Brands Hatch, and it spat him into the field. And that's the thing you've got to be so careful with, haven't you? And it's not easy. iRacing and driving these cars is not easy, is it?
It isn't. I'm not a race car driver. I don't know how the feedback is of a real race car. I drove real race cars 1 or 2 times in my career, but but on the simulator, you only have the wheel that giving you the feedback, and that's really hard to adapt to have this feeling in the hands and in the sound you have and in the wheel, so you can really do the adjustments you need. And we see it with Guillaume de Flandre, with Tobias Downhauer, Alan Day. those guys are incredibly fast in the real world, and they're incredibly fast also in sim racing. And we know why, because they are able to race. Those guys have the skill set to be fast everywhere, while I'm just a journalist and editor trying to stay safe on the track.
what I do want to know, because again, before we sign off the stream for this evening, there are various sort of sessions that go on throughout the week, the private testing sessions that the drivers can come into and get used to the setup, the standard setup that's issued to them all, get used to the circuit for a few days on the run-in. My plan is, because I want to feel what these cars are like as well, I'm going to come into some of those practice sessions, and then from a commentary perspective, I can understand just how difficult they are as well. I suspect I'm going to embarrass myself severely, but you'll be the benchmark for me. If I can get to your kind of pace, I'll be really, really happy. So are you up for joining me in a few sessions before we get to Brands Hatch to see how we get on?
Definitely, and we will compare those lap times, and I think, to be honest, I'm quite confident, but I know you're very fast in Brands Hatch because you have real-life experience in a Ford car, so that's why I'm not betting on myself, but I will take this challenge, and we will publish our times here in the stream.
We will, and I suspect I will be the one that will be finishing behind you. I have no doubt at all. I have no doubt at all. But no, you enjoyed the racing, yeah?
Yes, definitely, it was great.
Great stuff. So there we go. That, I think, is all of the drivers we need to chat to. So congratulations to Guillaume de Flandre on the win, for Alan Day for finishing in second place, and Yuli Stelzo for finishing in third position. We saw Tobias Dauenhauer going well, Alessandro Bugatti and Simon Palat, who were all there in the top six. And well done to Andre Weigold. And off the top of my head, looking at the results, Max Lancer in 22nd position, having starting 33rd on the grid, would have picked up the extra 4 championship points for claiming the most places, starting position to finishing position. So from all of us at the EuroNASCAR Esports Series, that's it for the start of our 2021 season here at Daytona on the road course. We thank i-cin.com and SimRacingLeague.it for their support, and TJ, who of course we saw some footage from on one of our headers heading into the programme. But that's it for the moment. That's round 1 done and dusted. Don't go anywhere, though, because we will be back for round 2 on the 23rd of February at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit. And remember, it's a busy week for NASCAR generally. We have just been the appetizer this evening for the clash that happens later on today over in Daytona. So from the whole of the Daytona family, and in particular us here at EuroNASCAR, thanks for joining us for round 1 of the Esports Series. We'll see you very soon at Brands Hatch. Until then, from myself, Mark Werrell, is goodbye.